Let's go to CaliforniaGlobe.com. They're one of the news sites on the internet that is replacing traditional newspapers because they do regular journalism, investigative journalism. We have Katy Grimes coming on with us from California Globe, and she has discovered that in Sacramento, they are opening a tiny apartment complex for the vagrants, $478,000 a unit. $478,000 for 280 square feet. You know how much that is on a per square foot basis? Over $1,700. You know what the cost of real estate in Sacramento is right now? $300 to $400 per square foot. $300 to $400, and for the tiny homes, it's $1,700. Courtesy of the Sacramento Mayor, Darrell Steinberg. Let's talk to Katy Grimes now. How are you, Katy?
Hi, John. I'm well. Thank you.
Well, obviously, this is nuts. How did this happen?
Oh, how does anything happen like this? It's other people's money. I've been following this project because this particular building in downtown Sacramento is kind of kitty corner from the Capitol, and my old office was just next door to it. And so I was very, very familiar. It used to be this old kind of SRO type of old hotel that was housing for low-income disabled adults who actually paid rent to live there. Well, our illustrious mayor kicked them all out and decided to turn it into tiny, tiny, tiny apartments. These are like medium RV sized. And obviously we were very critical of that from the beginning because the paying residents had to go find housing somewhere else, which the city did not help them do. But we knew this was going to be turned into another Taj Mahal project in Sacramento like the others. So developers are making, big, big bucks on these. This is Project Home Key money, courtesy of the governor. Taxpayers are paying for all of this, is the bottom line. And then this particular project, Mayor Steinberg announced the other day how excited he was that he was, finally moving in the new guests, the unhoused, because in Sacramento, they're not criminals, drug addicts, mentally ill, walking zombies who poop on the sidewalk. They're unhoused. So he announced he was moving them in the other day, and I started doing the math on this and went, no way. $1,707 per square foot. As I pointed out, this is the size of a medium-sized recreational vehicle that you could buy for a lot less than that.
So they're spending $478,000 really for a 280 square foot living space?
Yes. It is hard to believe.
I mean, obviously that's almost $500,000, which is more than the median housing price in the United States.
Well, exactly. And one of the things we also did, one of our wonderful contributors, Thomas Buckley, did, is he started looking at real estate for sale in Sacramento and found a neighborhood with comparable prices and found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a lovely backyard, lovely front yard for $425,000.
All right. Who's making out on this? Is there some kind of politically connected developer that did the retrofitting on this building who contributes heavily maybe to Darrell Steinberg?
Of course. That's a huge part of it. And it's a developer whose signs I see around downtown Sacramento. It's a big one. But we also have all these NGOs, these non-governmental organizations and nonprofits attached to all this homeless money, which is why I described the homeless living in Sacramento. I remember we have more, per capita than any other city in the state right now. These people have a bounty on their head, but it's a good bounty according to the politicians, because the more we have, the more money they get to spend on these development projects.
So this has become a lucrative racket for everyone involved.
Oh, this is the very definition of corruption. And I would love to see I'm praying that some really, really creative go-getter attorneys decide to start filing class action lawsuits against these city mayors, because this is outright corruption. It is such an abuse, not only of their own power, but an abuse of taxpayer funds. I mean, we've got a lot of problems in Sacramento and all the other cities in the state as well. And there are other examples, John, of programs that actually help people transform their lives that cost, and I mean a fraction of what we're spending on developing these, old hotels into fancy apartments.
They also never discuss the behavior of all these vagrants and the drug addiction and mental illness that leads to that behavior.
Exactly.
And when
That's why I said...
Go ahead.
That's why I said we're taking bets on how quickly these places will be trashed, like every other, RV or tiny home or, motel room that you put these people in. We're joking and saying 2 months. I'll bet it's a week, because they will unhinge anything from the walls they think they can sell if it means getting more heroin or meth, which are the two favorite drugs in Sacramento.
So there's no drug and alcohol restrictions?
No restrictions. They're supposed to be getting help. And coincidentally,
help. What is that
Steinberg
help?
Mayor Steinberg opened up a nonprofit his last year in the state Senate while he was there, got it funded via taxpayer funds, and it is supposed to be helping the mentally ill. So I'm sure his own nonprofit will be going to, knock on the doors of these folks and offer them all the help they can take. People
in Sacramento, I know it's a really bad homeless situation there. And Steinberg has been mayor for a long time. How long are they going to put up with this? Because not only is it extremely unpleasant to have all these crazy drug addicts and mental patients running around, but Steinberg is enabling this whole mess, and now everybody on the gravy train is getting rewarded.
Yeah, it is. I don't see voters doing much different, because the neighborhood that I live in, attached to downtown, is full of lobbyists, lawyers, and state employees, all attached to government. So, they like voting in their own raises and their benefits and things. They want status quo. The good news is we have a district attorney who is kicking butt in this city, and he's filed a lawsuit against the city of Sacramento. And what's so interesting, I was listening to your last segment, our district attorney is saying he's not arguing the Martin v. Boise case or the Grants Pass case. He's saying you have failed to arrest these vagrants for committing the crimes they're committing on the streets.
Yeah, we've had him on. He's good. What's his name? I forgot his name.
His name is Tien Ho.
Tien Ho, that's right. No, I hope he gets somewhere with these arguments. Because somebody's got to fight back for the normal people. This has gone on way too long now. This has gone on like 6-7 years all across the state. Yeah. And it's just...
Well, yeah, and what our DA has pointed out, that Sacramento, has not only failed to abate the homeless crisis, here in the city of Sacramento, and have not filed the crimes, against these people, committing unbelievable crimes, that our Sacramento homeless crisis exploded by more than 250% in just 7 years, coincidentally, when Mayor Darrell Steinberg was elected.
Right. I think Sacramento has the worst ratio of homeless to population in the state among major cities.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah, it's atrocious.
Well, Katy, thank you very much. You do great work.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
All right. Katy Grimes from CaliforniaGlobe.com, and you ought to read her story. Headline, $478,000 per unit, homeless tiny apartments, now open in Sacramento. When we come back, we are going to tell you about the Chinese Communist Party executive who is able to buy 200,000 acres of farmland in Oregon, and nobody in government knew about it. Or if they did, they didn't tell anybody. It's a true story. Coming up next, Deborah Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
The Clippers' new arena.